Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Charlie Morgan here and welcome back to another client interview with a very happy client of ours. I love doing these things and I'm really happy. Michael scaled his agency stroke coaching business from 13,000 a month to 25,000 a month in 5 months of working with us. So basically in 5 months, we've been working with him and basically helping him build client acquisition systems for appointment booking and sales. So he now routinely books like 1 to 2 appointments a day. It's not huge numbers, but he's very happy with the outcome and he's gone from 6 figures to multi 6 figures with us. I wanted to interview him and basically he's going to explain how he's done it and also some secrets in the program that have allowed him to help facilitate that transformation. So if you watch the whole video, towards the end, it will become very clear to you how he's been able to do this, and I'm looking forward to having you watch it. So if you enjoy this video, see you in the next one. All right, everyone, how's it going? It's Charlie Morgan, and welcome to yet another client interview. Today I'm joined by Michael, a client and close friend of mine that I've known now for about 5 months. And yes, we do indeed have the same artwork in our offices. So we both do like, what's it called? What's that artwork called? Can you remember?
Well, it's obviously, that's
Creation of Adam?
Creation of Adam, exactly.
Yeah, there we go. So I just threw you straight into a bit of chaos there.
Jeez, I was like embarrassed.
Yeah, but long story short, Michael's been working with Imperium, using our program for about 5 months. In that time, he's effectively doubled his monthly revenue for his coaching business, stroke agency, which we'll talk about, adding around $13,000 using predominantly, if I'm not mistaken, our Loom system. So Michael, why don't you take a second just to introduce yourself, explain who you are, and then we'll talk a little bit about where you were before the program.
Absolutely. Yeah, so my name is Michael Bohannes. I run a coaching business together with my wife, Anna. It's a coaching business, and we've also added agency elements to it. And we've been doing this for the last 4.5 years. She joined only about like a year ago or so. Until then, I was running it alone. And we help consultants win clients. So it's very much focused on the consulting world. We do have a couple of coaches working with us as well. The limits are quite porous between these concepts. So it's been going well. And we met, as you said, we actually met already 1.5 years ago, where you sent me the first Loom video, which was like,
I forgot about that.
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
It kept being on my mind. It's like, geez, I want to figure out how he does that, because it was really well done. And so then I was gradually more and more listening to you on YouTube. And then I realized at some point, yeah, I'm going to have to work with this guy. He's just too good. And because I do sign up with one coach every year. So I was like, okay, Charlie's going to be my 2022 guy.
No, love it. Well, hopefully we can be your 2023 guys as well. But no, it's
who knows?
Good. So when you what problems were you facing that led to you actually purchasing the program? Because obviously you were doing relatively well, making 6 figures, helping coaches and consultants. What were the issues you were facing that you wanted to get solved?
It's a really interesting question, because I felt like I was doing well with conversational prospecting and basically booking calls, but I simply wasn't having enough calls. And one of the reasons was that one of the ways, and this is also what we teach our clients, is we do conversational prospecting on LinkedIn, and that was kind of one of the main ways of booking calls, and it works really well. The one problem with it is that it requires a lot of cognitive energy. You need to be sort of on your game all the time when you are doing conversational prospecting. It's basically like chatting up people at an event, right? And that always takes energy, right? Especially if you're slightly on the introverted side, it just takes a lot of energy. And what I found really intriguing about your method, about the cold email methods, first of all, when I received your cold email, I didn't feel in any way bothered. And that is because it was good. And that, I mean, this is part of what we sell to our clients is no sales approach is you don't have to be embarrassed by a sales approach if your pitch is good. So just make sure you do a good pitch, and then you don't have to worry about bothering people, interrupting them. Just do it well. And yours was done really well. And the thing that was really where I thought I need help with that is creating a system where I can book calls without thinking. And that was the issue that I had on conversational prospecting, is that it requires your cognitive effort. The email, you just do the cognitive effort once where you craft the email and when you create the Loom script and all of that. But then it's pure mechanics. You just can do it, and you roll it out, and then you gradually hand it over to a VA, and it just works like a charm. And that was the one main thing. So long answer to your short question. What was my problem? I was not booking enough calls.
Yeah.
Also because I was subconsciously avoiding the cognitive effort of doing conversational prospecting myself.
Yeah. I've always looked at conversations because I know that cold messaging is pretty one of the you know, you receive messages from people and they're like, oh, like, how's your business going? And like, from my perspective, like I've tried it before. And when I try and reach out to people that are making a significant amount of money, they don't even want to entertain it, if that makes sense. Because it's like they're just too busy. They just want to know what you do. And I've noticed now that if someone reaches out to me on social media trying to start a conversation, I just don't even bother. Because it's like, if you want to sell me something, just sell it to me, and if I like it, I'll make a decision. But dancing around it is quite hard, and also conversations, like you said, they just don't scale. So I completely empathize with that.
Yeah.
So you hopped into the program sort of end of April this year, 2020, and you wanted specifically to systemize client acquisition. So obviously you've done that quite well because you've added an extra sort of 6 figures to the bottom line. Specifically to do with the program,
Yeah.
for anyone watching that's curious, what do you feel we did right that was able to help you get to that point and have that extra 13K in revenue?
Well, what you did right is that the tactics are very well thought through. The content is very comprehensive. So there's never an issue with, oh, I don't know how to do this. You don't skirt over topics, right? You just go in excruciating detail into everything.
It is very excruciating to make as well, by the way.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that I think is excellent. I think also you run the calls in a very efficient way. That is good. So those are a couple of really good points that I've taken away. And you know, I don't know to what degree I'm representative of your other clients. I think I am, but what I just don't need a huge amount of hand holding, I feel.
Yeah.
It's just that give me the tools, give me the tactics, and I'll implement it myself. That's why I've also recently I haven't been much on calls, because I'm sort of getting it now. Things are rolling. And it's probably best for you, you know, from a operational point of view, right? I got my value, it's great, and I'm barely showing up for calls anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think you do this really well, that you give people everything they need to implement the stuff themselves, and then you are there for when, you know, people need a bit of help. But that combination of the comprehensiveness and then running the calls in a very efficient way, that's pretty good.
We designed the program to be we wanted the content to be a vacuum for support, if that makes sense. So like, obviously people are going to have questions, but like I can pretty confidently say that 75% of all questions we get asked on coaching calls are at some point covered in the content. The issue is obviously there's a lot of bloody content for that reason, so it kind of cancels itself out, which is what we've learned. But I'm glad you think that. So you've built the Loom system. Am I correct in thinking that's the main one you've used, or do you have any other acquisition systems that you've used from us? It's just the cold email one?
No, mainly that.
Yeah. And how many appointments are you booking per week with that? Like 1 or 2 a day or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I could do more, but frankly, I have now so many clients, also done for you clients, which is one dilemma that I'm currently struggling with, as you know. But I have so many clients now that I frankly would be hard to handle more, and so I just want to integrate everything that is going on before ramping up. And you told me that I should start doing ads, which is another thing I need to get over some mindset issues there.
Yeah. So the problem that you're facing right now then is the systems work so well that you're at the point where you're too busy with work to start acquiring new clients. So the next step becomes operational capacity, I suppose. That's bloody brilliant. So what is next for the business? Because obviously you're in the position now where you've got a multi 6-figure coaching company, right? And you've got a sort of mix of a couple of different services, but ultimately you've got a way of acquiring clients. And now you've got this obstacle of too much. So what's next for the company, and where do you see Imperium potentially fitting into that?
Well, let's cover the first question first. What's next for the company? That is, I keep thinking about one thing that you told me, and what also I hear from Alex Hormozy, is that you can get to $1 million run rate with just one product, one channel even. Or I'm a little bit skeptical whether it would really be one channel, but I do 100% believe that I could get to $1 million run rate with the coaching program, just purely selling that. And my current sort of slight challenge that I have is that I still have agency clients as well, done for you work. And so I believe that over the next 6 months, something will have to give, right? Either I go full-time on agency or full-time on coaching. I don't have that clearly decided yet, but there I will have to make a painful decision. Right now, the reason why I'm not making the decision is because I simply don't feel like turning revenue away, because I have been for for a long time, I was at this 10, 15K a month level. And now that it's firmly in the 20 plus territory, I just don't want to risk going back to the old territory again. So something I need to overcome. But I very much believe, and I'm giving myself that goal, that within that's 3 months from now, come the new year, I will not take on any new agency clients, and then gradually phase out existing agency clients, of course, while keeping them happy and all of that. That is currently the plan. It's evolving. So
it's a good plan. I think it also allows you to build cash reserves. Because like we've got clients who are in a similar situation to you, different niches, and they start doing coaching, and they're like, oh, this coaching thing's like much preferable to done for you. Should I just drop all my agency clients and then just like start doing coaching full time? And it's like, no, because it has to be a transition. Otherwise you end up going back to like, you lose just like 10K revenue like that. And at the end of the day, like that's profit, so you don't want to cut it out. So that makes sense. So your goal, if I'm not mistaken, is like 80 grand, 100 grand a month.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's like, for me, I don't even consider $500,000 a year a worthy milestone.
Yeah.
And this has been also something I really appreciated, the mindset training in the program. It's truly excellent. Because you want to get to a point where your current level of revenue is just something like, obviously I'm making that. Like for me, I just want to be able to say, well, dude, 25, that's like the bare minimum, right? Yes. It's like, as you say, it should be disgusting to you to make 25K, right? Yeah. So for me, I want to get to that point where 100K a month is the new normal. Yeah. And that's the goal. Like I don't consider the 500 or like 40K a month. That's just a bit of a gradual change for me. And that will get me to obviously $500,000. Yeah. That is just not enough anymore, right? It's just $1 million a year is like the next hygiene standards. And I just know that I can do it. A couple of obstacles in the way, but I'll get there.
Yeah. I think just for everyone watching as well, as you referenced the mindset training, one of the core mindset strategy we have in the program is, there's a fancy term for it. I won't go into too much detail, but basically what you celebrate is what you limit yourself at. So if you think that like 10K a month is the be all and end all and the holy grail of income, that's all you're ever going to make. But if you see 10K a month as the worst possible thing that could ever happen to you, and what I mean by that is like, you'd never dip below that amount. It would be like, not flushing your toilet for 3 weeks. Like it's a hygiene standard, right? You do it because it happens, and like no matter what that is, it would be disgusting to not do that. It's a very good strategy and then we see that manifest like it has in you, for example, Michael, where you don't want to just go from 25 to 50 because you just see 50. It's just like, it's just 50, and then you can move on, and that creates a lot of pain as well. And it's a really good thing to have. That's awesome, man. So there's a couple things. Now it's time to see if I can get you to potentially sell my program for me. If you were, because I know obviously you had your hesitations about working with us and stuff, and it took you a while to come around to it. If you were thinking about booking a call or buying the program we've got, what advice would you give to that person, knowing what you know now about the program?
So you have nothing to risk, right? That's the great thing. This was ultimately the thing that got me over the line, is that you offer this money back guarantee, which I've completely taken over. I'm doing that myself now as well. And it's truly down to you the question is whether you trust yourself enough that you will actually do the work. That is the only thing, because when you do the work, you will get results. There's zero doubt about that. Like you guys say that you've had one refund, and that was only because you didn't have it in the terms and conditions at the time that people need to do the work, right? So you don't do refunds. You don't need to do them because obviously your system works. And so that is to me the single most clear no-brainer that, listen, if you're not booking at least 1 to 2 sales calls a day,
I love if you're not booking, the dramatic throat.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to so that you can edit this out.
No, it's fine. Doesn't matter. Keep it clean.
If you're not booking 1 to 2 sales calls a day, then do something so that you book those 1 to 2 sales calls a day.
Yeah.
And Charlie's program is just excellent because it provides excruciating level of detail, a truly outstanding world-class mindset module, and you will get your results. And if you don't, you get your money back. You know, which is again extremely unlikely. So there's zero reason. Like if you think and also that's the thing. I really like you as a guy, right? And so
when you make someone an extra $100,000 a year, that does tend to naturally manifest.
Yeah. No, but I also liked you, and that's the thing. We had a sales call back in March or April 2021, right? And there I was neutral towards you. You tried to sell me something. I said no because I was just mistaken about the type of the service. And then we just kind of lost touch. And then you started doing YouTube videos more frequently. And I started watching them and I thought, geez, this guy is really good in what he says. He's better than most other these type of gurus. And so I developed a strong affinity for you. And then it was just purely, okay, it's just, I will need to do it, obviously. Yeah. And it's just then the moment of when and when it's the right time.
Yeah.
So, those were my considerations. So there has to be a degree of appreciation for the person. You need to like them, right? And so for that, I think the YouTube videos that you do are excellent because you really develop an affinity for somebody personally.
Right,
so
YouTube is like just a weapon.
Yeah.
When you take familiarity and risk reversal and combine them, like it's just like it just builds like I always look at client acquisition and like everything we do, like how can we build the most trust? And it's like, well, where do you get trust from? Well, you get it from there's 3 things. Like do you trust yourself to do the work? Most people do, so that's always taken out. And then it's like, well, do you trust the person running the program, me, like for example? And then do you trust the program? And like if you want to trust me, you just have to become familiar enough with me. That's how the brain works. But to trust the program, you have to recognize there's a guarantee in place. So when we marry a lot of familiarity with a guarantee, there's just so much trust that like people just, how do you say no to someone that you like and that will give you back? Because the other thing is that if you trust me, then you trust me to be honest with my guarantee.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you know that you trust me and that I'm telling the truth, and that's natural, then when I tell you I'll give you back your money, you actually believe it. Whereas I see a lot of people these days offering guarantees and like, I'll scale your agency to 10K a month in the next 3 months, and if I don't, I'll give you all your money back. And you don't believe them. It's like, well, what's holding you accountable to that promise? It's like you don't have a reputation or an audience to uphold. So there's nothing really sitting under that. So I think a lot of people think that like guarantees and offers create trust, and they do, but not as much as if you have familiarity with the person. But
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll close there. Just keep it short and sweet. I really do appreciate you taking the time, mate, and coming on board.
Absolutely.
How can people find you? Because I know you've got a YouTube channel as well. I could link that in the description if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. So the website is michaelbohannes.com, Michael without an E. And you can find me on LinkedIn and get in touch in that way.
Beautiful, mate. Well, no doubt we'll be talking again in 12 months or so when you get to 100,000 a month. I look forward to that.
Well, 12 months? Oh, I'm going to get there faster.
Yeah, well, you haven't entered the realm of sales reps yet, my friend.
Oh yeah.
That's where it starts.
Is that necessary? No, for 100K a month, is that necessary?
It depends what sort of life you want.
Yeah. I know.
You can do 100K a month if you're just the one doing the calls. You can do 150K a month if you're just the one doing the calls, but then all you do is calls. So it's like you don't feel like a business owner. But either way, and it doesn't sustain itself because eventually you have to work on other things. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But
absolutely,
pleasure, man. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. Peace.